Hi milkers, welcome back to Tres Leches, the podcast where three Latina friends tell stories, unpack identity, and get real about everything from pop culture to politics.
It's sweet, it's a little messy, and always drenched in milk.
3 kinds of milk, in fact.
And the best part is, you can enjoy our milk even if you're lactose intolerant.
Rate, like, subscribe, and share with someone who gets it.
I have a feeling this episode could get us into trouble.
I hope we do get into trouble.
I hope so. We could use it, honestly.
I know, we really could.
We need the engagement. Jesus Christ.
Honestly, with Donald Trump as
do.
president, what kind of trouble can you get into that won't raise you to the highest office in the land at this point?
It's crazy.
That's a good question. Although it does seem to be unique to him, somewhat unique to him,
it's true.
at least.
It's true. It's true.
If you want to be president, I wouldn't try the same things that he's tried. I think that he's a special circumstance. What is that book? Outliers.
Outlier. He is an outlier.
I don't know. It's like sometimes when people put their whole pussy behind being the worst in the world, like Marjorie Taylor Greene has such a base of support. And like she's truly a child. She's truly an orangutan in that place. And yet people are like, go off, sister. I feel the same way. You know what I mean? Like,
You say that fucking thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Marjorie is a testament. Well, like so many people, is really you don't need that many people to love you to be famous.
right.
You know what I mean? You don't
Yeah.
have to. You don't have to be Oprah in 1997. That level of fame, and have that many people know your name and like you to be famous. You really just need a few, especially as a politician. If you don't want to be like the president, which you need you need some people to like you. But like Marjorie, you just gotta like the people who you live with around. And that shouldn't be that hard in a lot of
You
these
just have to have
places.
like a real a fan base that's ready to dox people like the Barbs, like that the devotion of that.
I need that.
I'm so happy I know what docs means now.
I feel like I don't need that because I feel like it's so scary when you do have like it's interesting. It's like when you post something on Instagram versus posting it on Twitter. Like when you post something on Instagram, usually it won't go very far. It'll go to like the people that follow you. But when you post on Twitter, you have people seeing your content that don't know you, don't know your lore, your code of ethics, so they can really put anything on you that they want.
Yes,
and so sometimes you'll see people say things about you that you're like, oh wow, that is so off. Like that's so off, So I feel like having a fan base that's always like, yes, mom, like you go, girl. It's kind of like warps your brain to thinking that everyone's against you in that kind of like culty mentality.
Interesting.
Well, I will say just in defense of Twitter and defense of X, one thing that I like about X, and there are a lot of horrendous things about X. Well, I not to sound like Joe Rogan at the porn,
Right.
yes, for sure. I do like people saying horrendable offensive things. I like to be around like offensive commentary. It's me. It's a me thing. I don't mean that it's good. I'm not saying it's good. It's just what I like. But I also like that one of the things I like about X is that when you go to X, you can find a lot of people. You discover people and things and ideas that you wouldn't in other places because you get more variety in your timeline than you do in other places.
As
to your
well
point,
as
John,
alternative facts, but yes.
Ooh,
as well
speaking
as
of
alternative facts. True.
Speaking of new people on your timeline, Ian, how is Spain?
Oh my God.
There's one or two more new follows, I imagine.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Doesn't he the way when he says that's so funny? Isn't it like? Doesn't it feel like the cuntiest white lady like not saying it's actually funny, but like.
It's filler. It's me deciding what I'm gonna say by making
connective tissue.
Yeah, exactly. I got a note from Juan like 6 months ago that was like, you could stand to your likes, and I don't know. There was like a note I got, so I'm just kind of filling it more with. Well, that's interesting.
What did I do? What did I say?
Oh, you say like a lot.
Honestly, it was a note that I thought was a little like. I don't know where you saw that on what videos, maybe one, but it was just like that I don't know what I'm talking about energy, but you want to seem like you know more about what you're talking about, so it would help if do you remember that conversation, Juan? You remember this?
Don't.
Oh my God,
Let's
it was
replay it.
I don't know. It's so much content.
It really sat with her though.
No, I'm just saying.
My goodness.
Bits. These are bits.
No, here I'm trying to think what I could have said. Yeah, maybe there was I commenting on likes or or.
I can't remember. Because I didn't think there were. I thought I got rid of all them. But I think it was the. But what do I think it was like a what do I know energy in the thing I'm discussing, and I think you were like,
I see.
You were like, you could stand to just own what it is you're
Right.
saying rather
I
than
see.
like, so that's why oh my god, that's so funny. I guess I don't know, doesn't make any sense.
But it can. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it does. There are
Sometimes
things that
it
are
is funny. Sometimes it is.
And I have a feeling that what happened in Spain I'm sure there was a few hee-hees and
a little ha-ha.
with J's. J, aha, J.
Tell us.
Okay, so Spain was really, really amazing for anyone who's just tuning in. First off, I'm Ian Paget, and welcome to Tres Leches.
Oh, yes.
In case
Hi,
you just
everybody.
happened upon this and an algorithm was feeling generous with us. I went to Spain. I went to Madrid for the first time, and boy, oh boy, did I have one of the best trips ever. It was 2 weeks. First week was like like pride.
If you know, you know.
If you do. And if you don't,
you know, go get tested.
oh my god.
She said
which
she
I
came
have to
through
do.
customs with so
Global. I use global, which was very
sorry.
easy.
She's
By the way,
global entry.
I am global entry.
Why does that not?
PPDs.
Wait, but what do you mean? What, Johnny? I protest that is like an elitist Ian thing.
No, I
It's
didn't say
offered
that.
to everybody.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying that you don't like
going on
to
here?
wait around. So I can see that you would have global entry.
Oh yeah. Well,
You're not that
I
elitist
was-
because you just went to Madrid for the first time, bitch. So
I know exactly.
That is one of the minor capitals.
It definitely has a seat at the table before Seattle. I'll tell you that.
Well, that's true. That is true.
Shit.
Yes. On the
It's
international
Madrid
landscape,
and
yeah.
Go.
On the international dinner table, Madrid definitely has a permanent seat.
Yes, it does. Wow. It was Pride. I went to the Wii party,
flavors.
which originated there. What'd you say?
The flavors.
Literally, though, the flavors.
That's what happens when you have foreskin.
Ooh.
Yes, exactly. You said it first because I was going to say when I was going to pull back the foreskin on Spain.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Oh my god, I traveled all the way to Spain. I'm going to bury the lead here, but I traveled all the way to Spain and like the Spaniards and everyone there, and it's like I found a Brazilian.
Oh.
And he is the most beautiful boy ever.
Was he
I
a
said
white
it about
Brazilian or brown
No.
Brazilian?
Wait, didn't I show you pictures? Oh no, I didn't because I think I would save. I don't like to talk about myself too much when I'm not in front of you guys because I want to really feel like your adulation in person. You know what I mean? I want to feel the reception of my energy, like sending it. The thing with Tres Leches was different because I had to do with all of us. But if it's just about me, that feels like bragging, which I'll do in person.
There's yeah, I mean,
I'm thinking about you guys. I want it to be entertaining for you. So he was brown. He was like a brown Brazilian.
love.
And it was I could say love at first sight because definitely
Love is love.
Love is love. Love it. And he's single. He's not in a relationship. So
Look at
that's a
that.
plus. Look
She's
at
turned a
that.
new leaf.
Okay.
25.
Okay. Anyway, Wii party was incredible. I was only planning on going to the Friday opening. It's called Sundia. And then you get there and it's kind of like, well, this is happening tomorrow? And they're like, yeah, but that's the main party. And I'm like, oh. And then literally my friends, the other people there, the other Brazilians are like, we're all coming tomorrow. I'm like, okay. So I went again and we had so much fun and it was just a really great time. Stayed out till noon on Sunday.
Wow.
Crazy.
That is
Never done that in
27
my-
minus activity right there.
Yes. But it's such a different, it's just so different over there, guys. Unless you've experienced it, it's hard to explain, you know what I mean? But it's just so much more fun. Everyone is so much hotter. and like everyone wants to dance. Everyone is like ready for the thing. No one's complaining about this circuit music. Actually, there was a couple of that happening, and I literally was like, if one person is giving a note about the circuit music at a circuit party, I'm going to go nuts. And I'm like, I'm
because they're
sorry.
there for their music.
Correct.
Exactly.
But also, what are you? I'm confused. Like, what about it is so wrong? It's kind of a. Are you racist? Because it's kind of a Latin beat, and you just can't dance to it, and you're feeling uncomfortable, and so it's usually a person of a different shade. Not always. That's a big. Whatever.
But it do tend to be actually when you really think about
thing
it.
where I'm just like, you guys are just intimidated by. I get it. It's a repeat. You hear it all the time. It keeps, but that's what a circuit party is. And if that music didn't keep going, you would be bored. You would have to try to find the next party to go to try and be like, oh my god, like where are all the hot men? They're
The
right
thing is
here,
that they're
baby
just,
girl.
Right. They're gonna be there. That's just a person that likes to complain instead of finding the joy in the moment and being like, isn't this great?
Amazing. I'm having a ball. And I'm like, you know what? I think I can proudly say I never realized, like, I love circuit music. I love it. I love circuit music. It's fun. It keeps me going. You feel like a fucking fierce ass, ferocious Janet Jackson on steroids. You know what I mean? You're just like, wow.
Yeah.
But
And
I'm
a lot of them
also
are on steroids.
correct. I am not. That just to clear that up. I'm not.
She's natty.
But
She's natty.
energetically,
Just to clear the air.
I'm
But I'm never
I'm
gonna ask for
living
forgiveness.
steroidally, kind of like in my head, if you will, you know? Anyway, but
Anabolically.
I'm living anabolically. Thank you. Anyway, but all of that to say that like it was really, really fun. And then on the back end of the trip, Mario Cantone met up with me, and he
True friend of the pod.
a true friend of the pod. Yes, go listen to that episode. Amazing. And it was really magical. The hotel we stayed at, the Mandarin Oriental, props to the Mandarin Oriental. They treated us like fucking royalty. They welcomed Mario with like pictures of himself in his room, and then in my room, like that night that they like did my turn down, there was like a picture of me, and then the picture of Tres Leches. I have it. I brought it with me. I traveled it.
I was gagged by the picture of Tres Leches. I really was. It's so sweet.
I thought it was so funny because
It's a free frame. I'm not going to leave it there.
I was like,
Isn't that
imagine
cute?
doing this for someone who wasn't vain. Like, someone that doesn't want a picture of themselves in the room, and they're like, why is there a picture of me here?
Oh, yeah.
And I will never know that feeling.
And Ian's like, oh, look at me. Mira para allá.
And at first I was a little like, I made a TikTok, and I the joke was because I saw what Mario got. It's funny. It's like when you see what the gifts are first, you're like, okay, so what are my gifts? And so I was so like LOLing because it was this beautiful picture of the three of us.
Yeah.
And my first joke was like, where's one of just me? And then I turned my head, and it was right there on the nightstand, which was so sweet.
Not where's one of just me. I'm screaming because I was like, because I was thinking to myself, I was like, imagine Beyonce walking into the hotel room and it's just like, boom, a picture with her and her Grammy. If I were Beyonce, I'd be like, why would they put that there? That's so fucking weird. But I do also see the sweet sentiment of
Are
like,
we his
we know
grandmothers?
your work. Huh?
Are we the Grammys, Johnny? We're grandmamas?
No, I'm saying like a truly famous person, okay? I mean, like,
Yes.
Go on.
I'm saying in comparison to like if a Britney Spears or now I actually do see J-Lo walking into the room and seeing a picture of herself on the nightstand and being like, and that's the fucking part right there. You know what I
she'd
mean?
be like, why didn't they
Yeah,
pick
yeah, I
that
do
one?
see that.
I know I took this picture. I just posted that on Instagram. Why didn't they print that one?
Well,
She would
you know
have a
what?
note.
Here's what I will say. Here's my note to the Mandarin, and I can say this because I used to work there. I would have found a picture with you and your parents, or with you and a loved one, and put that on the nightstand. Not just a picture of you by yourself on a step and repeat.
The
because
Virgo
that, to
in
me,
you is so strong right now, and it's
Like to make a house home.
But here's the thing: as someone who's worked in hospitality, the correct, you're trying to bring a piece of home into this vacation, into this home away from home, right?
But I don't have family on my Instagram. It's Ian
And
Paget.
that,
It's all
I'm
about
sure,
me.
is something that
You know
went
what I
into
mean?
their decision making. That they're like,
Bros,
we're not.
also, just to be, yes, sure. But the decision making is like, they're not spending hours on the research. It was like, okay, so we're going to do a scroll and a scroll. And that looks really good. And with Mario, it was like a picture of his headshot of like an old, it was like a,
Not a headshot.
It was something random that's like, I guess, easy to find. It's giving efficiency, which I appreciate.
Right.
Because give me the gift fast. And so with Mar,
I love that you call him Mar. It's just so cute. I love the short hair.
It is cute.
Yeah, I don't even think Jerry Dixon, his husband, calls him that. That is, but I will say this isn't a flex. This might be a bit of like, I don't have many glitches, but this might be one. And it's like, I do tend to like shorten people's names like real quick off the bat as a way of, it's a tenderness thing. It's like a way I show affection, and one could argue like, oop, the familiarity so early, you know what I mean? But I only do it with people I feel comfortable like me. Because then I'm
Right.
like, I like you back, and this is how I do that.
Which is why you call me my full government.
I never call you Jonathan Sibley. Oh, I do call you Jonathan.
First of all, my name is Johnny.
Johnny. Sorry, yes.
That's it.
I just kind of like change. I like editing and making it whatever I want it to be. You
I
know
mean,
what
listen. My name is a nickname in and of itself, so I'm.
Yeah,
I'll give
exactly.
you
So
that.
like, what do you, Jay? I'm never gonna call you Jay because that's not a nickname. That's
a letter.
That's a letter.
I will say that, like, John.
Jacob,
You could be a John.
Preston.
I could see you going by John also. Like, John, like Jon. Kind of like
Yeah.
John Cicada.
It is one of those things because he'll call you Juani, and that Juani is like a cute little like, but like Johnny, it goes up at the end, so
already
it's like
have
it's
it.
already
Yeah,
has
you
the
have
thing.
it.
But I love Mar because Mar sounds like you've been married for 40 years. Me and Mar.
Yes, yes. If only
hell,
that intimacy
Mar.
could translate into an actual person I want to spend time with and have sex with, who's closer to my age. Although Mar and I, those 7 days that we just spent with each other were magical. Like, we had
Right.
so much fun. We enjoy the same kind of food. We enjoy discussing food. We enjoy saying if it's not good. Like, service, we're foodies in that way. We like an experience. And he is one of the most opinionated, like, not afraid of conflict people. If the margarita is wrong, like it was at a restaurant we went to, which was not really
You
fun,
send it
actually.
back.
Twice. He kept saying, and the bartender was like, I know how to make a margarita the first time. And I was like, oh, okay, so you're just not listening. And then it was like, okay, so we told you how we want this. And then he brought it, and it had triple sec in it. And we were like, no triple sec, blah, 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 like, no. And then it was like, do you understand us? And there were 1, 2, 3 people at the table who could speak Spanish and who were very clear in the note. And then it was made once really, really well. And then when we said it again, like this is an hour later, we'd like others. Then they fucked up again, and they made, and it was just one of those things where like I get very quiet because I also noticed the energy in the restaurant was not my favorite. It wasn't really gay friendly. Like, it just kind of felt like we were a nuisance to them. And I'm like, do you know how much money we're going to spend at this table? Do you know how much money we are spending at this table? And like, there's hay una falta de respeto. You could tell there was this sort of like they didn't want to hear us.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's
so-
a terrible feeling.
Oh, and
Like, your money is not good enough.
Yeah.
It was very that. And Mar noticed it like 20 minutes into us sitting there because I got quiet, and he was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I really don't like this restaurant. And he was like, I can tell. It's like, I just don't really feel like safe. And it wasn't like there was energy, but the staff was rude, and there was not the service was really lacking. And the reason
That's
kind of
also very
felt-
European, I feel.
Well, we wondered about that, but then it was like, many other places we went to treated us so well. And yes, I would say Spaniards are very, it's funny, I texted my mom, and I was like, oh my God, like, you can get una copa de vino for like €4 and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And she's like, yes. She's like, Spain is great, but then Spanish people. And my mom, she can have a zinger here and there, but I was like, wait, what? Like, and I brought it up to the table, and they laughed because, like, but it's true. Like, Spaniards think that they're above other it's definitely like above people from Latin America. And I just didn't know that. And I'm like, I'm not going to argue with my mom. She's been around forever. She's traveled more than I have. Like, and so I got hip to that. But anyway, it just wasn't the best, funnest dinner. But we had a great time overall. We went to some, we saw an opera. We saw La Traviata with Nadine Sierra, who's friends with Mario. And like, we saw her do La Traviata here that Michael Mayer directed. And so we saw this other product. It was incredible. She is Callas style, Maria Callas, like the standing ovations, the bravas coming out. I literally was like, am I on the Gilded Age? You know what I mean? I was just like, I'm where I'm meant to be. We came to this place for magic, and I was feeling magical.
Yeah.
The opera remains one of the few places where you can get that.
Ooh.
That sense of awe.
Oh, I do want to share something that happened. I sent you guys something from Madrid. I'll wait for claps later. And then when I was like writing out like the things I wanted to say on the thing or whatever, I had a moment in the garden of the Mandarin Oriental with like birds chirping. It was very Snow White vibes, but like, you know, Blancanieves, more that. And I started crying when I was writing you guys your notes, and I just had this little moment where I was like, and I was taping it because I was going to do a thing like I like to send postcards to friends, like when I'm traveling, because I think it's like a different way of showing like I'm thinking about you and the vintageness of it, all of it, right? And I was like sitting there writing out your notes, and I literally out of nowhere just started crying. I mean, I literally think I was writing to you, Johnny, and Philip, being like, the men, blah, 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 we got to come here next. Like, it wasn't even giving, like, emotional river. You know what I mean? It was just like, the dick, uncut, like, so much fun. We should come next week. And, like, I was crying. Anyway.
Which makes up for the fact that you weren't answering the goddamn text messages that I was fucking sending you.
You mean a couple of 2 days ago when I was flying back, and I didn't.
That's just, it's, you know, it's fine. You're on vacation. And just, you know, I sometimes expect more from my friends when I am very, what's the word? Prompt with my replies. But I also know that everyone's texting style is not the same. But I did say it out loud because it was something that I was thinking. And it does make me feel better to know that you shed a tear thinking of me while you wrote a very old-fashioned postcard, which is much better than a text message.
Yes. So it sounds like, was that a no, or am I perfect?
No, it's a no.
It's a no.
It's just something to ruminate on.
Got it.
Yeah.
Luckily, that's something I do.
Would you agree?
Very well.
Would you agree, Juan?
With the text message over, well, I'm terrible at texting back, so I'm never one to criticize.
No. I'm not. I am talking about the
I want
timeliness, but I'm talking about the fervor of which the reply. Like, I want investment. I want.
Oh yes, I see what you mean. Like when you do reply,
like when
are
Ian
you actually replying?
We're asking who, what, when, where, how.
Oh,
and
I see.
Sometimes when we text Ian, she's
I've
like,
got a juicy story,
cute.
but yes.
She'll be like, love.
Oh yes, no, that I do get. Yes,
Love.
I see what
I
you
am
mean
about.
now.
You know what, Chris Olsen? If Chris Olsen was on the pod, he would be like, he's terrible at texting.
Yeah. And
so
you know,
much so, yeah.
It's just one of those things. It's like it's not to say you're bad at. I'm just saying, for me, what I like, you know, like we do share feedback and say, I would like you to tone it down when you give me advice. I would like for a little more investment in my life.
Yeah, I think it's important.
I can absolutely do that.
I would agree with that. I think listen, I mean, the thing with being so a part of each other's lives, and I don't mean this just to us, but I mean like kind of the greater each other's, is that there can often be a sense that we know more than we do. Right. And so then you don't ask, or you don't want to I don't know, you don't want to bother, you don't feel like you need it, but actually often you're only getting half the story, you know what I mean? So it's
you gotta watch Untucked.
Watch Untucked. Yeah, I can say that I've definitely felt in many ways in last year that it's even a note that I've given myself that I've been like, I feel like I don't really know what's going on in this person's life. Not so much with you two, but with other people, I feel like I have done that, and I've made people feel the way that Johnny is giving you. You know, like this note that we're giving. It's like I feel like I've done that myself.
Well, it goes back to if if you listen to our last episode where I shared how much I noticed kind of what you just said, which was that we are in constant thread with each other. We're sending videos, but yet there is this unknowing of really what's going on with your friends and how they're doing and blah, blah, blah. And I think for me, like, when you get me in person, tell me everything, best listener. Like, I will divulge, and I want to hear everything you're going to tell me, because like, I'm selfish with my time. Like, in my time, I'm like doing my thing, and if it's like an emergency, like with what happened to Philip, I handled that quite amazing. You know, I was just like, when it really, really matters, I'm just like, I'm showing care, and I did so well with that.
One thing she's gonna do is congratulate herself.
You know what? It's time. Time is short, and
with that, I ate that.
Yeah.
I'm not waiting for compliments, and I'm giving them to myself.
When he died, when he almost died, I really came alive.
You know what? If you can't compliment yourself, then how the hell can you compliment anybody else?
Anybody
Can I
else?
get an amen?
Okay.
Bitch, when I found out she had cancer, I said, "Oh, baby, I'm gonna show up for every appointment, honey. I'm gonna be in you like chemo, baby."
Oh, wow. Oh my God.
Should we get into love, or
we should get into love? We should get into love.
I mean, we've been into love. We've been into love, but we're talking about a very different kind of love in this next segment.
And I just want to say, Johnny, I really appreciate you telling me that, because I had a moment where, as you were sharing, I was like, wow, like, it is so important to hear these things and have that kind of a conversation and feedback from not just your sexual romantic partner, but from your friends, these other ways that we are in love with other people, right?
100%. And I think also, because it's one of those things that sometimes, like, when you talk to your partner or your therapist and you're like, this person isn't doing this and da-da-da, and you're like, well, have you told them? Well, no, they should know. It's like, people aren't, like, it's not the way that you are free with, this is how what you said made me feel. I really like when you do that, because I'm like, I'm not thinking about it that way, so to hear it in a different way is like, oh, you know what? I actually like that. I'm going to think about that next time. You know what I mean? So I was like, if I like it.
Notes. I give great notes,
And I'll just add, I think it's an important thing, and it's easy to not, after when you've known people for a long time, and when you don't, this is not incumbent upon having a relationship or reliant on having had a relationship with someone with 20 years.
Yeah.
But just in general, it's so easy to feel like you are in their life, but when you are not necessarily. Like, there are elements of this person's life that you are not in. So as friends, it's so important. And I think this is very true for us. Like, my goals, especially for Ian, since we're here in the same city, is to be more involved in each other's lives in a more real way, for you to know more about the ins and outs of me and Jay, all of that. Like, we need to feel more, you know what I mean? That needs to translate, and one of those ways is an investment over text message. That's a way to manifest that.
Yeah.
Which, like, your joys, your interests, your successes, your failures have to become a part of the conversation. Otherwise, how can you really get to know what's going on? There's just an inherent superficiality.
Right.
But it's not exactly what we're going to be talking about today, but it really does kind of perfectly set us up for it. Ian sent me a Instagram video of this content creator who talks a lot about, I looked at her stuff, she talks a little bit about everything, but she's very insightful. I like her content. Her name is Miriam, @Miriam_Tinney. And she was talking about this thing called directionless orbiting. Directionless orbiting. She read a quote from an essay submitted to Modern Love, to the New York Times, which maybe you are familiar with or you're not. They're a podcast, but also a column in the New York Times that you can read about stories about modern versions, ideas, concepts surrounding love, relationships, and family. It's great. And she was talking about how this one quote really stayed with her, which I think we should read, right, in order to have everyone on the same page. The essay is called Men, Where Have You Gone? Okay? And I quote, "What I won't entertain is directionless orbiting. That thing so many men now seem to mistake for connection. The perpetual maybe, the emoji check-ins, the casual seeing where it goes without ever going anywhere. We call it a situationship, but mostly it's avoidance. An abdication of ownership, of feeling, of behavior, of sex that isn't a means to an end, but is communion. There was a time, not so long ago, when even a one-night stand might end with tangled limbs and a shared breakfast, when the act of staying the night didn't announce a relationship, just a willingness to be human for a few hours. Now, even that kind of unscripted contact feels rare. We've built so many boundaries that we've walled off the very moments that make connection memorable. And frankly, morning sex is often the best sex. Sometimes you even get a side of eggs before you disappear from their bed and their life forever. This idea that vulnerability is a threat instead of an invitation has created a culture of hesitation, of men circling intimacy but never entering it. And the result is thousands of tiny silos. Everyone performing closeness, but no one making a move that binds. Isolation, loneliness, a hunger for contact that has nowhere to land. Maybe we're between paradigms. Mourning what's fallen, not yet fluent in what comes next. The infrastructures of intimacy, slowness, curiosity, and accountability have been eroded by haste, convenience, and a kind of sanctioned emotional retreat. It's not about blaming men. It's not about noticing the imbalance. It's about grieving what's not meeting us and about refusing to dress it up as personal failure when it's actually a collective reality. It goes on to say, so here's what I'll say. You are missed to the men, not just by me, but by the world you once helped shape. We remember you, the version of you that lingered at the table, that laughed from the chest, that asked questions and waited for the answers, that touched without taking, that listened, really listened when a woman spoke. Holy moly. Oh, and then the other quote that we didn't read is about stories, Instagram stories. Okay. So in talking about a man that she dated and it kind of fell apart, she gave him the open door. She was like, this is the essayist. And she says to him, listen, I like you, like, hello, we're vibing. And he never responded. He still follows my Instagram stories, one of those small gestures of passive engagement that so many of us now mistake for closeness. It looks like interest. It feels like silence. There are thousands of Jameses. I have known dozens. The arc varies, but the undertow is similar. And then it goes into the section that I read before.
Is she saying that he likes her stories or watches her stories?
Watches.
Oh, honey, that doesn't mean shit. That doesn't mean shit. People be watching stories just because you're on the docket doesn't mean that, you know what I mean? And it's like you're giving him that, oh, he's interested because he's watching my stories. Honey, the story, you're just next to someone else's story that he was watching. He might be taking a shit watching stories. Don't mean that he's watching because he cares.
So this essay is very interesting. There are a lot of contradictions here. The essayist, who her name is Rachel Drucker, she used to work for Playboy.
Right.
And at the top of the article, she opens with this treatise, which I thought was going to be about how men have been lost to porn, because she used to work for Playboy. I thought that's where we were going, right? That men have been lost to porn. And she doesn't say no to that. There is an undertow of that. She talks about instant gratification, etc. But really, it's about men kind of exiting the vulnerability pipeline, like getting rid of that part. You know, that they're kind of into the idea of dating and courting, but then when it gets real, they're gone. In fact, so much so, she says, that they don't even want physical vulnerability. They don't even do the one-night stand because of what it could imply.
Right.
And so much of this essay is about, and this is a buzz term now, like male loneliness, right? Like the male loneliness epidemic, which is really an overused term because I think there's a loneliness epidemic for everyone. But I found it really interesting how there is a sense that men have exited the conversation from vulnerability and access most, of course. We can. Can I tell you one top 10 things I hate? I hate when people are like, not all. I've got a great man. I love my man. I love him. Mine's very vulnerable. Yeah, bitch. I know. We're talking about a lot of people, the proverbial. So when we say all, we don't mean every single fucking one, including your husband, Melanie. I know you love him. No, but we're talking about that in general. How have you? Do you feel like? And this is not. I think what stood out to me is that this is also for very, very true about gay men. This is not just about straight cis men. This is about men.
Right.
People on this earth who identify as a man.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this idea of men no longer seeking vulnerability and feeling like it's an important aspect of their life?
I have such trouble with this article, to be honest. I really don't love the idea that it is a male problem, because men for the longest time are the ones that court women, right? They're the ones that ask women on dates. They're the ones that say, "Hey, I got us two top at da 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 da." But the problem is not so much, for me reading this article, the problem is not so much men, but it is the age in which we live, which is the internet age, the everything, everywhere, all at once age. Men, women, children, theys, thems, everyone are inundated with information constantly, whether that be news, whether that be hot people on Instagram, whether that be sports news, dating apps. Everything is so fast, so quick, and nothing stays with you for too long. Even if you're scrolling on TikTok, there's 5 videos you saw that warmed your heart, and you're only going to remember one of them, right? Whereas before, you would have a conversation with a woman in a lobby somewhere, and you would be thinking about that same woman because you weren't inundated with 5 other ones on the app that you just saw, or, the other 2 that you were talking to on Instagram. You'd stay with that one woman. You're like, God, I can't get her out of my head, because you weren't like lambasted with so much. I also think that because of the internet age, and because there's not that courtship anymore, people want to get to the point quickly. There isn't an investment in going to dinner to really get to know someone. It's like a lot of people have these quick conversations, and she said Raya, it's sometimes people are just using it to get that dopamine fix that they would have waited to get on the date, when we had more time with our thoughts, with ourselves. But now I don't know that it's a disinterest. It's just people are exhausted by the time it takes to put on a shirt and go out and really sit across from the table with someone and say, "So tell me about you." They're exhausted from the day,
There was a response to the article. Actually, mostly all men responded to this essay, and they posted it. And it was really interesting to see. I actually really want to read, because I took some snapshots, but of course my phone is being used right now. So it's funny. It's called "We're Right Here." Is the art, like the response to it is
Where have men gone? We're right here.
We're right here, and stating how this is not just a men thing. This is an all of us thing. This is a thing that we're all having to deal with, which is like, maybe it's not that we're not willing to be vulnerable, but we're exhausted, is kind of to what you're saying, Johnny, and that we also are scared to make a wrong move because we're in the age of don't upset women, don't be too masculine, because the Marlboro Man, I think someone says in one of the articles, is like misogynistic. Like, to be too confident, to be manly is off-putting.
Then you are an Andrew Tate.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about, like, I can't stand when men use that as an argument, as like, well, you can't even do anything these days, everyone's gonna be upset. It's not true. It's kind of like that Jill Scott quote that I use all the time. If you can tell me what to do, you can tell me what to do. But if you can't tell me what to do, you can't tell me what to do. There is an art to flirting, to courtship. If a man shows interest and says, "Hey, what do you like to eat?" and a woman says, "Oh, I love a pizza," and he's like, "How would you feel about me taking you for pizza at 8:00 on Wednesday?" A man could think, "I can't ask her that because she's gonna be like, well, what about if I'm not available on Wednesday? What if I only have time because my work?" It's like, if you want to put that out there, that a woman's not going to be okay with you asking her on a date, taking the reins, or being that gentlemanly vibe that you feel is a lost art, then you're not giving her the benefit of the doubt. Because also I think if that's truly how you are as a man, then you're going to find the woman for you. There's plenty of girls out there that want to have men take the suit off their back and put it on a puddle for them, and then there's women that are like, I don't need you to take your suit off. I can jump over the puddle myself. You'll find that, but you have to dig. I think that's the thing. People don't want to dig past the boundaries that are set up on these dating apps. Like, I think dating apps really rob people from the dance that makes the interest of people so much more exciting, because you even have voice memos on Hinge. It's like, oh, I don't like the way he sounds. Meanwhile, that could be your dream man, but you're not giving him the time of day, or she might not have, it's like, there's a different energy when you see someone out in the world, or you like you said, Juan, in one of our early episodes, it's like, I say get off the apps immediately. Like, when you find that person, go on the date, because it's true. The more you stay on the app and you have this conversation, this kiki, like, the more you're not getting to know the true essence of this individual, the pheromones, and I think everyone's relying so much on these cheat codes, these easy ways around it. And here's the thing I will say that did stick out to me, because I thought, well, men and women aren't that different, but I do think women are very community forward. A lot of women, they love brunching. Like, I'm not saying all women, obviously, but women have great communities within each other. They have book clubs. They have, these things women bounce off each other. That's why we have shows like Sex and the City and Girls. There's a community, and men have a community too, but they don't ask each other questions. They're not asking, like, bro, how are you? Like, tell me, what is it? It's like women hold space for each other in a way that most men do not.
Absolutely
so
not.
While she's online also, just like men are, she also values the human connection of sitting at dinner, whereas men will be like, I'm okay with making this meal prep for myself sometimes and, just jerking off at home.
Yeah.
I push back on a little bit of just, again, that generalization as well, that, like, most men don't have the conversation that you think they're not that you don't think they're having. I'm
just going off of what men are taught to value and what men are not. I'm not saying there aren't men that are out sitting around a book club and, in a cardigan, of course. But I'm saying when it comes to the larger idea of men, the reason why we have the male loneliness epidemic, there's plenty of TikToks of, like, girlfriends asking their boyfriends questions and the guy doesn't give any follow-ups. It's like, this is, I'm not saying that all men, obviously. I'm just saying, by and large, there is a difference in the ways in which women seek connection and men seek connection. And even gay men, there's a difference.
So to Johnny's point, we'll talk about straight men and gay men, about this directionless orbiting idea. A lot of the straight women in my life who are into cis straight women who are into cis straight men complain about the fact that their husbands don't have, like, lives outside of them. Like, if they didn't plan the dinners, there would be no dinners. They would, like, not go out. Like, men are not, many are not as social as women, right?
Yes.
Like, and especially when they get married and they have kids, when they get a little bit older, when they're no longer in college, et cetera, they become less social. And now women have the entire responsibility of driving all of their friendships too, which is why oftentimes when there's a straight people get divorced, the men are, like, on an island alone.
Yep.
They've lost their family, the wife's family, their friends, everything, because, like, it was all through her. She was the river through which all graces flowed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one problem. But then the other issue, that's just talking about the Sex and the City and their ability to touch, connect, the social beings. Now let's talk about directionless orbiting. This is true of gay and straight men. For the reasons are different. When our essayist is talking about the Instagram story thing, which, Johnny, you said, who cares? Everyone's looking at each other's story. True. But it is emblematic of the idea of we want to be in each other's lives. We want to have maybe access. Maybe there can be sex. Maybe there can't be. But there is this idea that, like, I don't need to define anything. I don't want to define anything. For gay men, there are people who, like, are meant to be single. Like, they want to be single. They don't want to have a partner. But often how that manifests is, I want to be single. I don't need a partner. Which is really just like, no one is good enough for you. You are always looking for someone hotter. The rules with which you would have to, the rules of the road for you to be in a relationship are unsustainable, because you would need too much freedom or too much this or too much that, because you're unwilling to bend just to having another person. But for straight men are, the reason they have this directionless orbiting is because I think that men are using the excuse a little bit of the Me Too movement of like, well, you can't do shit. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't go up to here. Can't go up to there. Can't do that anymore. And it's made men feel so distant from women. They feel like women are an enemy. There is no closeness. There's no access to them as people, because they are just this kind of, like, they're like the arbiter in chess. They're there to, like, maintain the rules, and men just are there to break them. And between that, and then straight men are in a tug of war between, I'm a man, I'm a provider, I want to make the money, I want you to do what I want, clean my house, wash my kids' ass, wash my ass, eat my dick. They're in a tug of war between that and, you want me to pay for everything and you have a job? Why am I responsible for that? Why do I have to be rich? Why do I have to be perfect? Why do I have to be 6'4" and have a great job and do this? And what do you have?
Blue eyes and
what
finance.
are you bringing to the table?
Correct.
Which is that's the argument of male TikTok right now. Like, toxic male TikTok is, what are you bringing me?
The problem with that is that when we think about equality, right, where men, a lot of people, this is people in positions of privilege for the most part, because you see this with racism as well. Like, you know how women these days are like, I'm looking for a man in finance, 6'5", blue eyes. Like, for the longest time, okay, men have been the ones that are like, I'm looking for a blonde that has big tits, no job, no kids. Like, they were the ones that created this system in which someone's financial background, the dowry, let's talk about that. How many can she give me a boy? All of these things of like, what can this person do for me? And now that the energy is matched to men, all of a sudden they're saying, well, wait a second, because they're like, well, if it's equality, why don't you pay? It's like, it's not that women have a problem with paying. It's that the men are still expecting women to abide by the same rules. And also, right, they're expecting them to fall in line when it comes to the things that men value. That, and also take care of the finances, have a job, do this, that, and the third. They want to have their cake and eat it too. And that's why a lot of women have put up boundaries where they say, no. If you want these big titties and you want this thing, I'm not working. How about that? Which is why when men get to a certain age, when they get to their 50s and 60s, they're going back in time and getting Miss 20-something-year-old who, because women after a certain time are like, I'm not putting up with this shit after a certain amount of time. Mm-hmm. And instead of men saying, you know what, I'm going to match her, and if she has a problem, we're going to get through that. Men don't like to be critiqued. Men don't like to be tested and pushed, because for so long in history, they don't have to be. Which is also why I tied it to racism, because when you start calling out white people about this, that, and the third, and you say something like, well, because, all white people do this. And white people say, well, what if we said that about black people? It's like, well, baby, you have since how long? So if women get a little bit of, no, we want you to have 6 figures. It's not because there's a history to it. You know what I mean? So that's why it's like so irritating to hear men not have the balls to step up to a woman that says, no, I got this. What are you bringing to the table? Instead of saying, oh, here's what I'm bringing to the table, Miss Mamas. Because I guarantee you, if a woman found a sparring partner to give her the business she's giving him, she would be like, let's do this thing. But a lot of men are like, you know what? I don't even want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. What?
I don't know about that. I don't know. I'm applying the Cuban American woman from Miami onto that.
Which
Too
is
many of the Cuban American women I know who are not like that.
What do you mean? Not like what?
A lot of the women that we grew up with in South Florida. I'll speak to what I am, so that no one can come after me.
Right.
A lot of the Cuban American women that I grew up with, first, second generation, Cuban American women, they say they want a sparring partner that they want to bring and that they want to deliver, but really, what they want is something very different from that. And they use the buzziness of that, of like, oh, I do this. But ultimately, when you look at the constitution of their relationship, it's built in an ultra traditional way. You just go to work. You just have a job. When your mamita stayed at home. So I can see why men feel that women want to have their cake and eat it too. But the issue is that they take that. Men hold on to that, and they use it as to justify their bad behavior.
Yeah. Well, that's why she said we might be at a paradigm shift, because we are at a paradigm shift. We are still entrenched in the old, which is traditional trad wife. You do this, I do this. And we're moving into a new age where it's like, I am an individual. I'm looking for another individual in order to match our individualities. Not what, there's the tug of war within self of like, do I want to be what like my mother, but I also want to have a job. I want to also, there's that internal thing. And sometimes when you have too much of that tug of war, you know what you do? You stay home, or you go to drinks with your girls, or you played Fortnite if you're a man or whatever. Like, I'm just using stereotypes to paint a picture. So people stay stagnant, and they get on Raya, and they get on Hinge, and they get on Tinder, and use it for, like I said, the dopamine hit of that orbiting that she's talking about. And I say it's not just men. The reason why it feels so much stronger when it comes to men and women is because women do go out into the world. In my opinion, women do go out into the world and commiserate with each other and do that. And men hook up too, or like they hang out. But it's usually like, I always say men like to acquire. They like to conquer and acquire. So whether that's conquering, acquiring, how many drinks you can have, how many bitches you got on your arm, it's giving divide and conquer vibes. Whereas women are, unite and invest. And without it sounding too, like I said, too, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. I think it's just the dynamics in which the tradition meets the new age of modern dating. Like,
Yes.
Ian, as the single person, how do you like, what is your, because you're like, I'm sure you have different feelings about it as like someone who's currently dating right now. When it comes to like people sending emojis and like there's like, oh, we might meet up, we might not. You have so many matches, but how many dates have you gone? Like,
Yeah. I definitely, when I read this article, was like, oh my God, like I do some of this. I've experienced some of this. I understand the specifics of like the thought and the thesis that she wrote this essay on. Right. And so I like kind of questioned a lot of my own actions in terms of dating, where I know I'm maybe searching for a dopamine hit or this, that, or the other, which is why I've always said I don't like the apps, because they are made to keep you on them.
Right.
The app is there so that you keep staying on the app. That Grindr, obviously, because that's just a continuation of like, what more can I get? But even the Hinges and the blah, 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 and it's like, we want you to go find your person, but we're going to really try to keep you here as much as possible, because otherwise
expand
you
your
don't
search,
get your money.
Pay more and get more matches every day. Yeah.
Not only more, better.
Better. And that's one of the things.
And that's also why, if you download those apps, I haven't had them in a while, but like on a Hinge, they set you up with the first 10 people are, goddamn, these people are hot. And then all of a sudden it's giving, oh wait, I know her. Like, it's like they set it up in a way that they really draw you in. it's like a trailer for a really good movie. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's your friend who works in accounting that, you know, like you don't find each other attractive. You know, like the ways in which they set up the dating industrial complex is to keep you hooked.
Yeah.
So yeah, not to interrupt, but you know, also
okay.
when I was reading through this article, and we're talking about this is true of gay men especially, and all, but I'll just speak. This is just about men. I hate to. Maybe I'm a product of the '90s and early 2000s, so maybe this is gonna age me. But like, maybe he's just not that into you, sweetheart, sweet angel, my mama. Maybe he just didn't think that that what you were feeling is not what he was feeling.
Correct.
And he didn't unfollow you because he doesn't want to be hostile. And instead you take
sheepish.
You write an article to the fucking New York Times, a 750-word article giving AP English literature. Like, mama, you know what I mean? It's. I do think that is a little bit of the men are from Mars, women are from Venus thing. A little bit.
Yeah.
So, is that, you know, sometimes I always tell my friends, when it's about careers or life or whatever, take yes for an answer. Take yes, go start this new job. They hired you. They want you. No imposter syndrome. But sometimes you just have to take no.
Take no for an answer too.
Maybe the issue is not marriage. The issue has always been marriage with your ass, with your stank ass. Do you know what I mean, Jelly Bean?
Yeah.
It took me a minute after my breakup with Jack to realize that, and I've talked about this on the show before, I was really clinging on to finding a reason, like all the reasons why, why he was so more attracted to the person, why I wasn't attractive enough, that I didn't, all these other reasons. And you know what? Maybe he just thought that the rest of his life waking up next to me was no longer something he was interested in. And you know what? That's going to have to be okay. There does not have to be a smoking gun.
Yes.
There doesn't have to be, not always, sometimes. So I think that's part of it, is that because there is such a revolving door, right? That we are applying the concept that men or women, either side, don't want to commit.
Right.
We're applying that to everyone in general, when maybe one of those people just didn't want to commit to you.
Right.
They don't want to commit to you.
It's like sometimes when Kiki Palmer once said, right message, wrong scenario.
It's exactly.
Because sometimes I feel like we do overthink everything now also, because you know there's truth to that men don't want to commit like they used to, but also marriage ain't what it used to be. Marriage used to be a contract in order to have the finances linked, and all. It was a business contract. And now that everyone's got their own entrepreneurial spirit to keep their business within, you know, and women aren't as driven to find a husband in order to take care of them. They can do it on their own, you know, but it's like one of those things. It's like there just has to be, it cannot be us versus them. When it really comes down to linking up, you know, not everyone is going to link up. Like it just feels like it's so much more because there's so many more people in your face on a daily basis. You wouldn't feel like there'd be so many men that weren't committing to going on a date with you if you weren't seeing so many freaking faces on your iPhone every single day. Because guess what? There's millions of men, millions of women, and so many of them want to see you, want to connect with you, and some of them you might miss because you're looking down.
So, you know, this idea of directionless orbiting, you know what? Maybe the men and women who are orbiting and like not wanting to like explore more is because they're downtrodden. Because they're looking at the world as it is right now, and they do not feel hopeful about the idea of getting married and buying a house because they owe too much money.
Correct.
And a house is not really realistic for them. And no shade to my gals, but a lot of gals still have very clear ideas, and I mean the ones with vaginas, those gals, okay, not my gal pals. The true women have they have a clear sense of what they want once they get married. They want and on this timeline, and they're on a timeline for a reason, okay?
And you're one of those women.
Yes, correct. No, like Except mine is, well, I'll explain that. I'm not even get into that. But the idea that there is a timeline, there are these things that they want, and maybe a man doesn't feel that he can provide that. So he's exited that conversation. And by the way, that's women too. There are a lot of women who feel like the traditional concept of love and marriage and relationship is not applicable to them because of their life or what they want to do, or the amount of, or on a more superficial, fun way, the amount they want to travel. And at the most serious level, the inability to afford that kind of the things that come with that partnership. And the wars and the
but
fires.
But also there's also the
Trump.
idea that they don't want to. They just don't want to.
Yes,
they don't
just
want
don't
to invest in another thing. They're already so enmeshed in their own existence, and I think because of the window into everyone's life, we're so much more focused on our own that we don't like. I just as an experiment, when I'm not on social media, my conversations in real life, when I'm looking at people in the face, are so much richer because I've been robbed of seeing everyone's life all the time, every day, all day, that when I see a human being in front of me, I'm like, oh my God, tell me about everything, because I want to know. But when you're constantly fed constant information about people's lives, their vacations, their loved ones, their put a story about this, if you did this one time. Once you get to a date, if you even make one, right? You're sitting across from the person and it feels like work. It feels like a chore to be like, okay. That's why people are like, I hate dating. I hate dating. Of course you hate dating, because you're fucking exhausted. Because you know so much about other people that this person isn't that interesting to you.
It's why I tell people, or I hope, I'm like, if I like you, I don't actually want to see anything about you on social media, because I will now become part of the problem that I am about to discuss, which is the idea that I want to imagine about you in my head without the help of social media is what I want to keep it there. I'm old fashioned in that way. I want to maybe think about you and then like have a little daydream and then be present with what's going on with me. I don't want to see you and then create this crazy imagination thing based off of what social media is giving me, because I think that gets a little too, it's too easy to go to find fault or to find glitches and be like, oh, that's a green flag. Oh, wait, but that's a, look how he's like, is that how he takes pictures? I don't like how he's taking pictures. You know what I mean? Like I want to learn I want to learn about you in real time in person. And it's,
and when you like someone, those little things like the way he takes pictures or his dress code or whatever become little things that are like, oh, that's so him. Like that's just the way he is. Because you're investing in the human being inside versus the performance of human being.
Now, I also know that this can be a bit of a double-edged sword, because I could also be like, the reality is we do have social media. The reality is here on Earth, where Juan is from, I'm able to look at what it is you're providing. Let me see all the things. Let me see how you are, how do you step into the world in this way, right? And it's a tool. I understand that. But like the other side of it is also a bit of fantasy for me, because I go, ooh, I want to keep you special. So if I see you too much, you stop being special to me, right? Like I'm getting inundated with you too much and blah, 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 blah. And like, as someone who is online kind of radically, like it's like sort of a beautiful work from home social media life. I understand that sometimes like, I think it hinders, or I wonder how much it has hindered a person's perception of me if we're entangled with each other romantically, or if there's, it's like, is it a turnoff? Are they like,
it's not that it's a turnoff. It's that they have made it a turnoff to them. That's the problem, is that we are like, oh, I don't want him to see my Instagram. I don't want to. Either way, like if you let's say, Ian, you're looking at someone's page, you are painting the picture for them. There's only so many things a picture can tell you before you start creating the backdrop and who's in the picture, what happened in the picture.
Right.
So if someone thinks that you being online, and sure, they might find your online personality or thing to be not something that they are interested in, but you might be very different on a one-on-one date. So you know, so it's like there's only so much we as the people that are online can do, and then everything else is the story people are writing about us in their own heads. Also, I think that there's an obsession with the destination, and by that I mean, what is this going to be? Who is this person to me? Rather than the enjoyment of the ride. A lot of people are like, well, I don't want to waste my time. First of all, you're already wasting your time. To live is to waste your time.
Correct.
Okay? Every minute is a waste, or it's not. So I would rather, instead of being online saying no to 40 people a day and going to sleep like, God, I'm so tired of being alone, I'd rather go out on a date with maybe 2 people in a week, or even a day. Maybe you have a lunch and then you have a dinner. Because you're living, you're out, and you're touch. Lena Bradford said to me in my logo interview, I come from touch, feel, smell. Get off the phone and into each other.
Yeah.
You know, like, sure, if you see someone's picture, great, and they interest you just a little bit, are you free for coffee tomorrow? And if they're not, keep it moving.
You guys, I have something to share, and it's just such a perfect segue. I'm talking witchcraft situations here. I was having a moment yesterday, and I was I don't know what was going on, but I noticed maybe a seeking of dopamine rush, an indecisiveness around how I wanted to spend my time and energy. I was like, do I want to be around friends right now? Like, do I wish I had something to look forward to, or is it just do I not want to be alone? Like, I was just having one of those days of just like a moody day, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't feel motivated to do anything. It was very just like indecisive. And then through some breath work and honestly just being like, I don't like this feeling, get outside and maybe just do something, go for a walk, I ended up doing some shit, blah 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 blah. And I had just kind of decided, like, you're not going to go on the apps, like, you don't go on Instagram, just kind of be with you, you're okay. Like, how can you feel fulfilled with you just being with you right now, and like not trying to escape what you're feeling, all these things. And my phone buzzed, and I think I was also feeling a little like around like a boy I was supposed to hang out with, and like there's been a weird way we're like interacting
Orbiting.
now, which I'm like, maybe
Right.
it was like we were supposed to hang, and like, you know, but then that didn't happen, and I can just tell there's like a difference in the way that we're texting, and so I got in my head around that, and I was just like, Ian, like, be with you,
touch grass,
and then touch grass with myself, and in the touching of the grass and like really kind of feeling good about, okay, prioritize you. What's going on with you? What do you need to do for yourself? And I started doing all that. I went to Trader Joe's. I was like buying the things I needed to buy and going grocery shopping. And I get a buzz on my phone, and it's from Hinge. And I was like, Hinge? I was like, I haven't been here in a minute. And it's a name, and I saw it. It was small because it's a small name. I'm not going to say the name, but like this person, Juan, I sent him to this months ago. This beautiful boy who lives in Miami was like, wow, I really got to start checking this thing. I'm talking like Johnny and Juan. I sent him this message like when I was like just starting out on Hinge, right? 3 years ago. No. And like earlier this year. And all of a sudden we started chatting, and like I was just in a place where I started laughing at the Trader Joe's because I was like, of course. You like decide, it's like when you go on vacation and then you get a job, that level of like, I'm just gonna go live my life, and then like the life you want comes to get you. And we're getting married, so he responds, we're like chatting, and the witty banter that started, the fleeting connection, right? Who knows if it really goes anywhere, but like in the moment was so nice. And I bring this up because of what you said. It's like I said to him, I was like, what are you doing this weekend? And why it matters and why it's kind of like, oop, is because he lives in Miami. And I'm not kidding. I was looking at flights to just be like, I'm going to put in effort into my life around a person who I was like, this is so crazy. He's like, can I take you out for a pastelito? And I was like, can I take you out for a pastelito? Because you've never had one. And like this whole thing. And he was like, yeah. And I'm
He's
like,
never had one, and he lives in Miami?
I know. That's literally what I said.
Is this man white?
No, he's Colombian. No, that's what it's.
Does not compute. Does not compute.
Does not compute at all. But it was just like a really cute conversation. And what I wanted to do in the moment. It was just like, let's get off this app, because I could just tell how easy it is to just like.
She said, "Let's get off this app and get on Delta, Mama."
Come on, JetBlue, okay? Mint,
JetBlue, that mint.
Meet me in the Sky
Mosaic.
Lounge.
You better. Meet me in the Sky Lounge. You better not be flying Mint to go on a date.
No, sorry,
Oh.
but not at all. But I'm saying, like, I was kind of like, excited.
Ian, I love that. Some people might listen and be like, "Go on a flight to go on a date."
Why not?
Absolutely. Some of the best memories I have with men are, first of all, and I didn't meet Philip off of doing that, but I remember Philip and I went on like 3 or 4 dates when I was in Florida. I didn't think it was going to go anywhere. And I went back to New York and I said, you know what? I'm flying this boy up here because I want to see him again. Because
Hallelujah.
I could have saved that money, but why the fuck not have a beautiful weekend with a beautiful boy? And if it goes somewhere or if it doesn't, you get to have like she was saying, sometimes at the end of the date, you go home and you sleep with each other and you entangled your limbs just to feel like a human, not for it to go anywhere. I have taken so many cross state line trips to go on a date or to go on a weekend of sex, to enjoy life, because at the end of the day, when you're 80, 90 years old and you can't even move, your bones are too brittle, I want to be able to look back and say, oh, I really did the thing, huh? I really put myself first and
Agreed.
I did what I wanted to do. And you could look at life like that, or you could look at, wow, I waste so much time on these men that I gave my life and my money to. Okay, girl. Well, if that's how you want to look at your life, as a waste, then go ahead. But you could also look at it as like, wow, I really put myself out there and I did the damn thing.
Especially if it's a thing you like. Right? If you don't like sex and you don't like dating, then save your monny and build a
do a
chicken
puzzle.
coop. But if you like men, spend money there.
Yes,
Right.
yes, yeah. And I wouldn't just have it'd be different if it was like, all we said was, hey, hello, do you like pastelitos? And all of a sudden I'm like, pastelitos. And then I'm like, hey, I'm in Miami, let's go for that pastelito. It's like, oh, what? I'm talking like there was reciprocal energy of like you, and I'm like, you, mind you, it's just on the app, but like when you feel that or you find that, you're like, I want to jump on this, you know what I mean?
I bet.
And it's
I felt that with
sometimes
Jay.
you do.
It was, we were on the app. You do. We were just talking on Instagram, and I was like, you know what? Like, I feel like I should just make the kind of blind good effort to like really get this IRL as soon as possible.
Yes.
I changed the flight.
Right.
Listen to me. I had my mother. He was staying in Fort Lauderdale. I was in Miami for work, and Jay was in Fort Lauderdale. I had my mother, because I didn't want to have to pay for the Uber, drop me off at his hotel. Did I not?
Yes.
I did.
We live.
I had to drop me off at I stayed in this man's room. I don't know him from nobody. Okay. And I stayed there overnight. Changed my flight so I could have the night to
all this to say, you had also been talking to him online, and
you had
yes,
also
exactly. Yes. Exactly. It wasn't,
No, I'm saying like
we were online.
You didn't just like meet him and then decide I'm going to go to your hotel room, which many of us have done. Also, I don't know why I'm thinking that would be a big deal for a lot of you girls out there, but I'm just saying when it comes to Jay, you took the chance because you're like, you know what? Yeah. We've been talking and I like him and I'm going to see him.
Yeah.
Correct. By the way, in this essay, I was so taken aback when it was so Carrie Bradshaw. She was like writing about the early 2000s, I feel like, in her essay. It felt very like the scene of that. She was like, when you used to have one night stands, are the girls and boys not having one night stands anymore?
That's, yeah.
I
don't
literally
know.
everyone I know is like one night standing.
I think
Only.
they
up the wazoo.
Correct, but I
women.
think it's what she means is going on that beautiful dinner date and then going home with the person as like a continuation of a beautiful date, because a lot of people think, I don't want to give her the wrong idea that I'm bringing her home after the date in order to set this up as a possible relationship. It's giving, what are you doing? Where are you at 3 a.m. in the morning?
But she's 54, and like, I just don't know that she's also going to be like, are you Rachel Drucker, are you really trying to do I don't know that the one night stand is happening for you in the same way like that it's happening for...
Tell that to the girls on End Just Like That, Miss Thing. Cynthia Nixon and Rosie O'Donnell were in that bed quick, fast, and in a hurry. You know what I'm
I think
saying?
you're going to say quacking.
I know. I thought you were going to say quacking as well.
Quack, quack, quack.
The show is quacking, actually. But what I found to be the most interesting were some of the responses by some of these men. Like,
Right.
I would like to read some because they're just well-written sentences. This is from Brandon Collins in Detroit, Michigan. There has been a concentrated message, especially over the past decade, that masculinity is toxic. The Marlboro Man persona is misogynistic. Acting like a guy means you are guilty of sins against the current social norms and open to all the consequences those sins merit. Whether that's true or not is at least how it seems. The younger generation has been cowed into submission. The age-old dance of courtship and self-discovery has taken on a more ominous tone, where men understand, rightly or wrongly, that a wrong word, phrase, or action, however innocent, can have devastating effects on their lives. Their social faux pas are no longer private. Indeed, there are social media pages such as Are We Dating the Same Guy that post reviews of dates and name names. It was hard enough impressing a woman to keep her interested in a second date, but men now have no desire to be contestants on a social media game show. I thought that was really interesting.
Boo. This is not to you, obviously. It is very interesting. But what's interesting about it is that, again, like I said, this is how men have operated for the longest time. In college, there were message boards about women, rating them from a scale of 1 to 10 based on how fuckable they were. I don't want to hear any man talk about it's hard out here for a pimp. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's so much harder these days. Well, then get better at it. If it's harder, get better at it. It's the problem is that it used to be so much easier because you had all the control. And now when these girls started saying, oh, no, hold up, baby boo. If you want these meat curtains, you better wait one damn second and you better impress to get into this club. So now men are like, there's toxic masculinity. What's toxic about that whole excerpt that you just read is that he thinks that we don't know better than that. Sorry.
You ate that.
I'll push back for the sake of
Pushing back.
ridiculousness, for the sake of it. Do you guys remember when Aziz Ansari got caught up in the Me Too situation?
Vaguely.
Yes.
A woman with whom he went out on a date wrote a treatise, an essay, really alleging how inappropriately he had acted. And at the time, there were some appropriate things, but I think we've looked back on that. We on the internet with slightly kinder eyes, being
Right.
like, you just didn't think he was attractive. Mm-hmm. You didn't want him to touch you.
Right.
You did not want him to touch you. And he didn't force you to do anything. He was just creepy to you. And I think that people, when you go on the darker corners of the internet, his example is used a lot. It's like they cling on to the outliers of someone who's like, oh, no, you see what they did to Aziz Ansari?
Correct.
A great guy,
Right.
a nerdy, sweet guy. Because you know what? She did go too far. And I tell that to her here. If she were here right now in front of her mother. She did. In context. Because she applied Harvey Weinstein to him.
But here's the thing
society
also.
Did.
That is, but a man reading that and using Aziz Ansari, however that might look, that's like saying, one immigrant killed someone, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, look, just like the Republicans have used that same little girl that those immigrants killed to paint a picture that all immigrants do this, men are also doing that to women to say, yeah, but this one was wrong, and that's why we're scared, and that's why we don't want to do the work. It's lazy.
Because everyone loves to be a victim.
Huh?
Everyone loves to be a victim.
Correct. But I'm not saying it's just men that like to be victims. A lot of people, that's why I say sometimes people weaponize their marginalization, their trauma. Everything can be used as a weapon these days. And that's why it's very hard to decipher what's what. But I do think that it still behooves men to do just a little bit more work in order to get what they want. And I don't think that women, like they're painting women out to be all, women expect more from men, as they should. And men just need to step up a little more and stop thinking that everything just comes easy to them. It has for a very long time, but we are at a paradigm shift.
From my gal, Miss Kyle Kernan, I don't know her, but she's from New York City, and this is what she wrote. I have spent the past year trying to show up differently, to prioritize presence in both dating and friendship. I quit drinking for 75 days this spring and early summer, hoping to reconnect with a version of myself I could stand by. In that time, I approached dating with more intention and less performative energy. But what I found was a strange paradox. The more I showed up with presence, the more disposable I felt. So much of dating feels transactional, a quick scan for red flags or a test to see how efficiently someone might fit into a curated life with me. And I get it. We're all protecting something. But I've started to feel like connection isn't something we build anymore. It's something we sample. And if it doesn't provide instant validation or stimulation, we move on. We talk a lot about men disappearing emotionally, physically, and that's valid. But I also think that there are men out here trying to appear fully and without pretense and not finding much space to land.
They're just not 6'4". Sorry.
The script has flipped. The script has flipped in some ways. Control over commitment, detachment as armor. These aren't limited to just men. These are a symptom of something broader.
Yes.
Kyle, come over. Come sit next to me, Kyle.
Right.
I like
Kyle's
you, Kyle.
a queen. No, I'm kidding. But that is
queen.
And here's what I will say. In conclusion, I agree with a lot of what Rachel is saying. I do see why Rachel is saying what she's saying. I do think a lot of the ways that men and women and gay men and everyone show up in the world is because of our reliance on the thing in our pocket. And I'm not talking about our anatomy. I'm talking about the buzz. And I think our over-reliance and our unfortunate, the ways in which it takes care of everything in our lives, but also takes us away from our actual, like, touch, feel, smell lives, does impact the ways in which dating happens. And I think we would do so much better if we also understood there's powers that be that are not to sound like a QAnon person, but there are ways in which we can't always just blame each other because there's other factors at hand, unfortunately. When you rely on that dopamine hit of opening up the Instagram to see a video, a picture, just to take you away from your day at work, that is doing things to your brain that is not making you as available to show up for your romantic interests, your friends, your parents. It's just there's only so much we can do better that we can do better, if that makes sense. That's my conclusion on the whole situation. But I do think we should, when you're face to face with that person that you want to go on a date with, I really do think radically showing up in that moment is how we get past this.
Put the phone down, go on the date, get on the flight, like, be willing, open yourself up, like, invite them to the fucking Beyonce concert with you, even though you've only been chatting for, like, a few months. No, like, do the thing, learn about it in real time and see what happens. And you could end up like Juan and Johnny with relationship.
Right. Take a risk, take a chance, and break away.
On me.
And that's
now
on
if I could just
Kelly.
get $750,000. I have everything.
Right. We're like, and then I hopped on a plane to LAX with a dream and a cardigan. You will find the love in which you so seek.
Yeah.
I really do believe that. Anyway, much love
That
and
was
light.
fun.
Go
Much love and light.
orbit.
Go orbit.
I'm sweating. Bye.
Mwah.
¡Qué rico!